Yes, counting is very hard, thank you, but we are now live. And hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Tales of Edeah. We are very excited to be here. And today, you will see that we are joined by one of my very good friends, Chansey. She will be playing a character in the upcoming session, and she will be joining us regularly. So please extend the warmest welcomes. We have already, but if you are watching. In any case, we're going to dive right in because we've already been hanging out for a while, and I think these people are getting sick of me if I don't start telling a story soon. Stop nodding. That's not nice, you know?
Yeah.
Alright, so. Postizia, March 14th, year 51 of the new era. Excitement runs through the narrow halls and the open offices of the Solidariat. Almost 200 of Postizia's lawmakers, officials, and most important, are gathered throughout the Honorable Court, one of the Solidariat's many courts. They feed upon the rumors that are now spreading like wildfire. Some speak of Count Devon's horrible mismanagement of funds of a commission, and how he has spent the Republic's coin on prostitutes and alcohol. Others now speak with judgment, or with indignance, of apparently an arrest made in the restricted parts of the building tonight, where apparently a freelancer has been arrested at the behest of a foreign power. Still others whisper of the disgrace of one Atticus Hope of the peace delegation, and how the Republic should never consider sending a drunk like that on a mission so important. And a few, only a few, have begun to whisper about an attack at Lord Storm's manor, and speculate as to who might have arranged such a thing to attack a young lord and lady in their own home. As Tani, Barnack, and Turnock re-emerge into the Honourable Court, eyes uncomfortably follow them no matter where they go, whether in the narrow but tall halls or in the court itself. You are never unwatched. In the meantime, Jean-Jacques, invisible, sneaks through the darkened halls and past locked and unlocked offices. These halls are notably cooler and darker than anything closer to the Honourable Court, and clearly the spell that warms that place has not been extended to cover the entire Solidariat. Along the way, he's forced to stop several times in order to avoid the attention of the guards walking the hallways, but they're on low alert, expecting to find nothing. After some tense minutes, Jean-Jacques makes his way into the Foreign Affairs office, and he might be relieved to find yet another door unlocked. Now, while Jean-Jacques is sneaking, and we're going to start with him, but I just want to put to the rest of you, Barnack, Tani, and Turnock, please think about what you want to be doing and who you want to be talking to, because we will be coming to you next. So, Jean-Jacques, you enter the Foreign Affairs office. It's a sort of open office space with several desks spread out, and the one that belongs, according to a small plaque on the front, to Vista Nendorius, sits in a corner, away from the windows, which, if you briefly look through them, you can see the icy cold river spread before you like a sea of oily blackness. The desk itself is a simple one, with several bound stacks of paper and folders on the desk, and desk drawers to either side. The only thing of note is a small oil lamp, which is currently not lit, which sits on the surface. What do you wish to do?
Is it bright enough for me to, with my dark vision, just
Yes,
be able to see
you can
around and
definitely
read?
see clearly enough.
All right, so I definitely want to go through the desk, but before I do, I know he's invisible and alone, so he takes a minute to just kind of process what happened in the courtyard last episode. So not with Core, but the decision that he had made. So he kind of just stands there, breathing heavily, both arms on the table, and kind of shivering, sweat dropping from his brow, and just kind of has a manic look in his eyes for just a minute before like a shadow passes over his face and it's all back to normal again. And then I go look through the table. I specifically remember what Vanity, I believe, was it, right?
Yes.
Said about the person receiving gifts. So I'll also investigate that. But I'm looking for any signs of any tie to Lord Sword and Brand, or any persons who might have in any way indicated that
Okay.
this person was involved.
Well, in that case, please go ahead and make an investigation check upon the desk.
That is a 16. No, 14. Sorry.
Okay. 14. Okay.
Yes.
In that case, as you start kind of rifling through, the first thing that you notice is that standing kind of hidden underneath the desk so that, it's not open to just anybody who walks into the office, you see a small basket indeed, which is nicely decorated. It seems to have some stuffing in it as well, but within it, the only thing that you find is an unopened bottle of Althasian gin, which is quite an expensive type of liquor, and a very nice and fine bottle that stands there. And clearly, it seems to have been decorated with some kind of treats of some kind, which have already been consumed. Beyond that, as you start to look through the desk, you don't find anything necessarily immediately of note. You do spot several letters that are in one of the drawers, and you see correspondences with several foreign dignitaries, but most of them are about the situation in the kingdom of Brulia to the south. And apparently things are quote-unquote escalating, and this may be a problem for the peace negotiations that the Republic will be entering into this year. So there seems to be some hubbub around the Foreign Affairs Office that the peace negotiations might become troublesome. And I would say that even just looking at very briefly without really investigating any of the other desks, there are more correspondences throughout that indicate, various concerns or whatever on other desks in this office regarding the same topic.
And no mention of Lord Sordenbrand in any of these.
No, not in any of those. I apologize. I forgot to mention there is a thank you note on the that's kind of stuffed into the stuffing of the gift basket, and in the thank you note it just says thank you for your hard work, and it is signed with a very flourished B. That's it. You don't recognize the handwriting.
All right, and no other notes from the gifts, or is this the only?
This
I
is
guess
the
it's
only
gift,
visible gift that you see at the moment. Presumably the others have been taken
B.
home.
B. Foreign Affairs Office. ¿Dónde estás? Budget Committee. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. Grand Pensionary, Judicial and Ethical Merchant, Prince of Brulia. Prince of Brulia? Nope.
No, in the canonical guest list, there is no specific...
there is no Foreign Affairs Office, is there?
Various people work there, but none of them are necessarily important enough.
Gotcha.
They're mostly, clerks and things like that.
Okay. And I had already ruled out one other person, right? Or we had already ruled out one other person. Turnock did.
Turnock, but I don't know if... Because you haven't actually emerged yet.
Yeah, we haven't touched base.
So you haven't touched base, so you haven't actually checked that yet.
Okay. So, did we switch to the map? We haven't switched to the map, but let me open it up on my end. So I'm in the Foreign Affairs Office now. If I remember, to the west there was... Where is it? West side of Pensionaries Court, Bilmont Sonorius. Oh no, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is Bilmont Sonorius.
Yeah. The three places that were marked for you to investigate were indeed circled on the map.
Okay. Let me see one thing. I don't think that I really have anything useful to do here. Counter spell. Well, yeah, I really need more spy spells.
Of course you do.
I will do one more pass if you'll allow it, and try to look for any hidden compartments or any fake drawers, things like that.
Sure. Go ahead and make an additional investigation check in that case.
Okay, that is 17.
All right. You start, every drawer gets pulled out, and you start tapping at it, and you start listening for any indicators that there might be anything hidden inside of it. You start to lose hope as you go through each one, but then the second to last one on the right, suddenly you do hear the characteristic kind of hollowness of something where it should be a solid floorboard, but instead there's some room there. So just 1 second before we continue, Bruno told me that he was starting to feel quite unwell all of a sudden, so he might have had to drop out. So I'm just going to fix this here on our end as much as I can. Apologies to our viewers, and of course we hope that Bruno feels better soon. 1 second here.
Also, Kevin, you might be a bit quieter than Nicola.
Okay, yeah, I had set myself just slightly lower, but
thanks, Rincape.
Okay. Hopefully I'm a bit lower now, and also
no, it's on my end. I had myself set lower on the stream.
Okay. Yeah, my mic's been giving me a lot of trouble recently, so.
All right, so let me just quickly move the two of you around. There we go. Nicola, your particular...
You're suddenly Jean-Jacques.
Yeah.
What?
Because the cams moved around.
Right.
Here we go. And we are good again. Apologies.
Okay. Right, so noticing that, I will first inspect it for any traps. So anything, any tripwires or anything that might either harm me or, the content if I were to try and, manipulate this.
Okay.
I have thieves' tools and proficiency with them.
Okay, then go ahead and roll a dexterity check with proficiency.
Okay, that is a 15. Yes, 15.
Okay. Aside from a complex mechanism mainly designed to simply hide it very well, it's beautifully made, but kind of expected as well in a place like this where secrets are probably dime a dozen. That this thing just fits in perfectly, and it actually takes you most of that time investigating with your thieves tools just to see where the opening is. You start to think maybe it's not actually the double bottom that you expected until finally it pops loose. I will say, because of the delicacy of the mechanism, and it was a 15, it kind of pops, and you get the impression that there's a little tiny mechanical bit that breaks a little bit. So you're like, oh shit. But you do manage to open it up. As you do, you uncover the following. You find several spell scrolls, and these spell scrolls are one for suggestion, another for suggestion, one for mind blank, and one for modify memory.
Okay. So 2 times suggestion.
Yeah.
1 mind blank.
Yeah.
And 1 modify memory.
And below all of those, you find one that's been expended, which has no further markings on it to identify what the spell was. Interesting.
And outside of the spell scrolls, there are no other type, documents or things like that.
No, this seems to be specifically to have been about hiding these particular items.
All right. So I've left traces of me being there.
Yes. Of someone being there at the very least.
Yeah, of course, right. I will leave everything as is, so I'll return those spell scrolls. Wait, will I? It will be good to have them.
That's up to you.
I will leave them as is.
Okay.
and I will carefully try to scratch it up a little bit further, so it seemed like I tried to open it, but ultimately failed.
Okay.
Of course, that will be hopefully the impression that they get. Right, so I'll just kind of make scratches around that area that would point to me trying to wedge something in, but so as not to appear that I've actually opened it.
Then I would like you to roll an additional check with the Thieves' Tools and a history check.
Okay. I'll roll the
just to kind of see how
tools first.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
That is a natural 20 with a 24 total.
24.
And
okay.
History. It's another natural 20.
Wow.
I swear to God, for 26, I can take a picture.
No, I believe you. That's just incredibly impressive.
Shit. Nice for after a week that I had.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right,
so 26 total.
There is absolutely no question. In fact, when you put it back and you start to push the thing in, you're struck by how incredibly well you've made this look. You would believe it. Like, there's literally no other way to interpret what this looks like. All right, so you push it closed, and what
I will move some things around so that it's obvious that somebody was there, and I will also steal the gin.
Okay. Okay, so you steal.
I mean, I just want the gin. Yeah, that's the gin I just want.
Okay.
The rest, and it's also, hopefully this is what they will see: somebody pettiness, stealing their gin, and leaving the rest alone.
Okay, interesting. So let me make note of that. And you can add an Althasian gin to your inventory.
Althasian gin. Yes.
All right.
A-S?
U-L-T-H-A-S-I-A-N.
Oh, Althasian. Gotcha. Okay. I was like, how is this Ostrozia? What the fuck? I get it now.
No. All right. So, by the way, between everything that happened, the time that you spent in the courtyard, or in the courtroom, rather, and of course the sneaking around beforehand, you are starting to get close to the end of your invisibility spell.
I will recast it.
All right.
Just in case, right away. So. At second level again.
Okay. So you make sure to remain invisible.
Yeah. And doing my due diligence, I'll go because it's on the way there to the office where Turnock was. So I think we can just skip that one in terms of like.
Yeah. I think you probably, because Turnock did try to put it back the way that it was, but I think to a trained eye, especially you do notice that certain things have been opened and looked through. You repeat the same steps and it doesn't necessarily strike you as.
I dropped the gin off in the bag of holding.
Okay.
On my way there.
All right. So you're on your way to Sonorius's office. Let's briefly move over to Tani and Barnack in this case, and Turnock with them. What are you guys going to get up to?
Well, we need to question some people, I believe, and find out the truth about the attacks. And we have no idea how to do that.
Well, you've already asked Elena, right? From what I saw before. I'm assuming that last episode maybe Tani was trying to be conspicuous, looking at the sus people that Lord Phoenix Storm told us about, maybe see who they were talking to, if they were looking over at Lord Fennec and keeping quiet generally. So I could have seen that they did go to Elena and.
Absolutely.
DM question.
Yes.
You said that that rumors were slowly starting to form about an attack on Lord Storm.
That's right.
Okay. Is there anyone that was made suspicious to us by Lord Storm himself in the vicinity of us anywhere? Is there anyone from that place?
It's a large and moving group of people, so people are moving in and out of your quote-unquote vicinity constantly. But most of them are there. In fact, after you returned about five minutes later, everyone from the courtroom also returned to the party. You know, they can't be absent for too long, so they returned quite swiftly.
So Mr. Strauss is there too.
Mr. Strauss is there, the Grand Pensionary, the Stedholder, Robert Mortimer, aka the very serious-faced version of your former friend Appy.
Oh yeah, not going close to that one. No.
Okay.
Okay, and so all of these people are here as well. How do we pronounce it? E-A-A-E-K?
Sorry? Oh, Edeah.
Edeah. Okay,
Yes.
Edeah. Philip Grundig. Tani? Who should we start with? Do you... And you, Tarnok, I'm not really sure who we should start with. We can just approach someone and say, like, make it weird and say, like, oh, did you hear about someone attacking Lord Storm? And then Tani, you can, like, just try to see if they're lying or not. You're very good at that, right? You can read people pretty well.
Like, ask him directly or talk
Yeah,
about
well,
it in
no,
their
well,
vicinity?
We can ask them indirectly, but we can see if they're surprised or if they knew anything about it. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's a good plan. I think that's going to end
See if
pretty well.
see if their eyes look a certain way. Yeah. I know how
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, well, that's your you understand people. I understand situations and these things around us. Yeah, let's see. So who's closest to us? Someone that looks either easily approachable, so not like in a group of 20 people, or just closest to us if all of them are busy already.
Okay, let me have a look here.
It's Edeah, Esme Bonneville, Philip Grundig, Honorable Clementine Selman, Jean-Pierre, and Lady Elena.
I would say that right now the most approachable looking person is the Honorable Clementine Selman, who was also in the court with you earlier. But she is currently on her way back from having retrieved a drink, and you can see that she's kind of not necessarily talking to herself, but she is just kind of lost in her thoughts, and she's walking around greeting a few people, but not necessarily engaging in any lengthy conversations that would make it difficult to engage with.
Okay, Tani, Tarnok, let's approach this Honorable Clementine Selman. It's a she, right?
Clementine. It is, yes. Yeah. I would probably be misrepresenting Tarnok if I didn't at least have him say something like, please don't embarrass us, and please walk away if I ask you to.
We never embarrass each other, Tarnok, don't worry. But as I said, this is not my forte, so I will just ask questions and then bolt out of there. Also, remember that we have a plan B. We have papers.
Don't share the papers.
No, not sharing them. Of course we wouldn't share them. We would just
leave them somewhere
quietly. Not
Tarnok
now,
shakes
though.
the head.
Yeah, well, it's fine. So let's approach her. And Tani, you try to just gauge if she's lying. She looks like she's talking to herself, so that's a bit weird. Do I have a drink? Is there like anyone passing by handing drinks?
Easily enough. I mean, as soon as somebody notices that you're, asking, immediately like two servers come over, one sees the other and just waves them away and presents you with like a small offering of various beverages, wine, scotch, brandy, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll take scotch.
Right.
Thank you.
I'll take some wine and grab it like both hands and try to look ladylike.
Let's go. Tarnok, you should also talk. I'm not, as I said, I don't know how to talk very well. You just keep me grounded. That's good. That's a good plan.
Sure.
So we'll approach Honorable Lady Clementine
The Honorable Selman, all right. She notices your approaching, and she stops, and she's kind of got like her arms folded a little bit, and she's holding up the glass like so, and she's just kind of swirling it, and was walking around and thinking and taking a sip here and there, and she notices you, and she inclines her head before really realizing who's approaching, because of course she recognizes you from earlier. And you can see a slight frown on her. She has a very narrow face, very, very strict sort of school teacher vibe to her. And as you approach, you realize also that she's quite tall. She probably is as tall as Turnok.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I couldn't help but notice that you were in the proceedings a few minutes ago.
She looks around a little bit like someone looking for help. And then looks
Just
back
a
to
second,
you.
wasn't she the prosecutor?
She was.
Yeah.
Barnack forgot. But she doesn't seem to
drunk.
find the help that she needs to escape this conversation easily. So she kind of squares up with you, Barnack, a little bit more. Looks over the other two only very briefly. She says, yes, that was a regrettable bit of business, but we must all pay for our actions one day.
Oh, while my friend was taken, I do agree that we must all pay for our actions, and I just wanted to make sure that there were no hard feelings between any of us here.
I suspect it would be you who has the hard feelings.
Oh, no, not at all. I would like to make a toast to justice.
It seems... She bites back some comment or another, and she will raise the glass, but you can see that she's not very much convinced by that particular philosophy in this context. So the two of you have this really awkward kind of toast. Turnok didn't take anything to drink because he specifically doesn't want to be drinking in this situation. And I suppose Tani might have also raised her glass. So it's this really awkward kind of toast where none of the people involved really seem to be on the same page. But the floor is yours, Barnack.
But I have two questions for you, if I may, Honorable Lady Clementine Selman.
Honorable is the title rather than lady. I am not nobility.
Honorable. Sorry, it is honorable. But my first question is, what did you personally think of my other friend here? I point to Tarnok.
Before tonight I had not heard any of your names and did not form any opinions to begin with.
Fair enough.
Perhaps I will ask a question back. What is it that you are hoping to achieve here, Mr. Stoneheart, if I remember correctly?
You do. Do you mean talking to you, or
Yes.
do you mean being here in general?
You have clearly come to me with a purpose, and
I did.
I am not so blind to
did.
ignore it, nor do I play the games that my colleagues like to play as willingly. So if we do not need to, then let us not.
That is pretty okay, because I don't know how to play them either, as you probably can see that.
Yes, it's a little bit awkward, but that's okay.
I wanted to ask you, have you heard about the attack on Lord Storm's... Well,
Lord Storm was
Place.
attacked.
yes. Well, Lord Storm was attacked because of, as you said, political reasons.
I have not heard this news. I suppose it must have been one of the rumors that are going around, but I have, as you well know, not been out here for very long. But
And
Make an
you
insight
being
check.
in the ethical committee, who is, in your mind, the biggest problem in this city?
Tani, go ahead and make the insight check. She purses her
Lips.
lips in response to that question, Barnack.
That's a 7, but I do believe I have an inspiration point.
I believe
Can
so.
use that.
Make sure to
Yeah,
track
you
those
do.
correctly, since you can
Yep.
have up to 3.
Okay, that's better. 13.
13. As far as you can tell, she had indeed not heard of any attacks on Lord Storm. But at the question that Barnack just posed, she seems almost indignant to be asked. Mr. Stonehut, we are neither friends nor allies, nor do I truly know your role in this place beyond. Frankly, I don't know. So sharing any information of that kind would not only be unprofessional, it might be a death sentence to my career. Perhaps you would like to choose a question that would be more suitable for drinking conversation at the celebration.
I look around. This time I'm looking around for help,
Okay.
as she was. Another question then. Who do you think would have attacked Lord Storm? And this is not me asking you as someone from the ethical committee, just your personal opinion.
Okay.
As two people at a party, drinking, and having connections with justice.
She frowns again, and you realize that despite her offer to forego the games, she hadn't expected anything of this sort of level of honesty, and you've certainly taken her aback. Before we continue, Simon, thank you so much for the gift subs. That's 5 subs, including Chansey and Kira getting subs. So congratulations. Thank you so much. But yeah, she's definitely taken aback by this very direct line of questioning. And you can see that you've sort of put her on the back foot a little bit. She looks around more to see if anybody's listening in right now, and then beckons you over so that you guys can stand a little more to the side, a little more in the shadows, a little less in the spotlight. And she'll think for a moment and then come back with another question to you instead. And she'll say, Mr. Stonehut, I don't know what you are implying, but is this why you have come here tonight? Because I can advise you that questioning members of this assembly in this manner is that it's actual suicide. You should be very careful who you speak to in this manner. Now, I have some sympathy for you after what I have witnessed tonight, but that sympathy only goes so far. As for any attacks on any members of our Grand Assembly, I have no opinions because, as far as I know, this does not happen, as we are all respectable people. And what happens in the shadows should be brought to light. So I know nothing, and I suspect no one. But if you find out anything, then please let me know. And I will ensure that, as you say, justice is found. Do you understand me?
I do.
Good.
I think I do.
Then, unless you have anything more pertinent to ask, I will offer you this one opportunity. But otherwise, we should cut our conversation short here.
I have a personal question then, but you might not know anything about this. Well, it's more of a piece of advice I would need. How does one approach someone as powerful as Mr. Johann Strauss?
For what purpose?
Well, hopefully a few words exchanged. Nothing else?
She looks over at the other two, questioningly perhaps, but constantly judging all three of you now. And then she looks back to you, Barnack, and she said, would those questions be as offensive as the ones that you have posed to me?
I don't know. Probably, but I can try to sugarcoat them a bit.
I will advise you to find someone with a silver tongue to ask the questions for you instead.
Silver tongue.
For one, Mr. Strauss plays this game better than most. And for another, he will not see you unless you have a proper reason to see him. And asking a few questions is not that.
Well, thank you for the advice.
Mind yourself, Mr. Stoneheart. You
quite
are in a very
refreshing.
dangerous arena. I know these people do not look like they could do much harm, but they can decide your entire fate if you step on the wrong toes.
Don't like this at all.
Take care. And she starts to wander off.
You as well. And I'll just gulp the rest of it. The rest Of it.
Okay. Alright.
Tani?
Well, it was good we approached her first.
Yes. We learned that she might not be the one we are looking for.
Yeah.
And we also learned that she might be a potential ally.
She didn't look nervous. She didn't look like she was, keeping something to herself. And I did like what she said. Like, anything that happens in the shadows should be brought to light. That was poetic.
That was very good, yes. Bringing something from the... Oh, I shouldn't yell. Bringing something
Because
from
shadows
the
and
shadows.
light, yes.
Yes. And we need to find someone with a silver tongue.
I wonder what that would look like.
I don't even know if
Would it
they
be
could
heavy?
Probably. I don't know, but we'll. Okay, so new plan. Just make sure to look at people's tongues while they talk. That is also very important.
I love you guys.
Okay, intermission.
I love you guys so much. I wonder what that would look like. Would it be heavier?
Because it's made of silver, right?
Yeah.
Would it be just a coating? Okay, I'll stop.
Alright.
Okay, in character. She's completely
So-
serious.
So, I don't know. I'm not really good at this questioning, but if we find Jean-Jacques, he could do this probably much better than we could. But he's still
Inside
Is
doing
he-
those
is he
invisible.
invisible? I'll swat my
Well,
hand
that was
through
the
the air
plan,
around me
but
a bit.
then Elena said that wouldn't be possible, so I wonder.
Yeah, he's not here.
You do accidentally slap someone in passing a little bit.
Apologies. The alcohol is very good.
Yeah, it is. And he just goes back and he pats you on the head and then walks on.
Oh, got a pat on the head. So let's wait. Maybe we should wait for Jean-Jacques. What do you think, Tani? He can talk pretty well with these
Yeah.
weirdos.
Maybe we should have listened in to the lessons he was giving to
Yeah.
Vanity.
Wait, I have an idea. We can just listen in on people. Try to hear what they're saying, and we can just casually mention attack on Lord Storm. Like, oh, we can get these waiters here to just like send messages for us. So we can just tell one waiter to bring a drink to someone else and mention Lord Storm was attacked, and then we can see how they act.
Okay.
And if they act nervous, then
And then we
it could have been
approach
the
them.
person.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. That is our plan then. Let's go get more booze. Let's wait for some waiters and let's listen in on people. I'll listen in on ARK.
Okay.
You can listen in on who's left. Oh, Danny, remember that Jean-Pierre really liked you when we visited him?
Did he?
I think he did. Yeah. He didn't want to talk to me almost at all. Which is really weird. But why don't you go talk to him before Jean-Jacques returns?
You see, she furrowed her brows a little. She was looking a little distracted for a second there. But she says nothing about that, and she like snaps herself back, and okay. Well, if you say he liked me,
Well,
maybe I
looked
did.
like that.
Maybe I did play the part of a lady well. So that's good.
Especially that exit from the carriage. Yes.
Oh yeah. That was calculated.
Yeah. So yeah, you can go maybe talk to him, and I'll listen in on ARK. And Tarnok will probably be keeping an eye on me because he doesn't trust my words
I don't.
or actions.
All right. So with those plans made, and please do think about, you know, how you might want to follow up. We'll get to that in a minute.
I think Chance is disconnected.
Oh no. That is unfortunate.
Her internet might have.
And she's back.
Which is
Yeah.
fine.
And she's back. Yeah, that was
Let me
it.
just move everyone to the correct places again. Oop. Sorry, guys. Always a bit of a mess moving the webcams, especially when I lose one. Oh, there we go. I lost Barnack. It's like, where is he? All right. Welcome back, Chansey, I hope. In any case, let's move on to Jean-Jacques again, as he sneaks into through the Nowidian house, rather, in order to get to Mr. Bilmont Sonorius's office. And
Just one thing.
Yes.
Before, I believe that I said it, but I just can't remember. I took the Lekispor out of the haversack, right?
Okay.
When I was there with, I believe so, right? When I was
think
there
so,
with Vanity, but I was dropping off the gin, so in case I didn't, I do take it this time.
Okay, good to know. Oh, sorry, before we continue, Tani, did you get my message on Discord?
Yep, that's why she furrowed her brows.
Perfect. Jean-Jacques, so you make it back to first to Lady Elena's office. You exchange the items that you want to exchange. You check the office of Tovet on the way. Find nothing of interest, and then you make your way to Sonorius's office, all the way on the western part of the Solidariat. So this is, again, some sneaky...
Grand tour of the Parliament building.
It is indeed a grand tour, but once again, you're struck by the fact that this western part still remains pretty empty of soldierly presence or security of any kind. So it's pretty easy to actually get to Sonorius's office, but you do find the door locked.
Okay.
So if you would like to...
First, I will inspect it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll inspect it for traps, but I also will take special care to inspect it for magical traps or glyphs of any kind and things like that.
In that case, make both an investigation and an arcana check.
Okay, those are the same for me, so it's the same number. One is a 20 total.
Okay.
That was the investigation. And then 18 for the arcana.
Okay. You don't find any arcane means of keeping the place safe. It simply seems that it's very well locked, and indeed, even compared to other locks that you might have, expected in this place, this one is very, very well made. So you're probably going to have to put some work into trying to get it open. But if you like, you can attempt a check with your thieves' tools in order to open her up.
Yeah. Let me just double check, because I think Belmont was on our list for a couple of different things, wasn't he?
I believe so.
Or I feel like his name came up for more than one thing.
Well, Lord Fennec had marked him as a person of interest, and so did Lady Elena Sordenbrand.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So definitely, if he's interesting in both. I'll attempt it.
Okay.
I don't have anything to aid me here. Let me just double check. I don't think I do. Magical guidance. So I'll keep that in mind. So don't tell me, I think, if we can do it that way. So just don't tell me if I succeed. So if I just roll super low, I'll just...
Okay.
I think you also have inspiration, Nicola, just remember.
I don't think I do. I use them liberally. So I think I used mine. I keep track of them and I've used mine liberally. So, yeah.
All right.
Okay, that's a very low roll of 9, so I'll use a sorcery point to reroll.
Okay.
And pray to the gods. That is much better. Thank you, gods. That is a 20 total.
Okay, so as you're fiddling with this lock, and you start to feel that it's not quite, the tumblers aren't lining up, you're not getting it quite the way that you want it to align, you actually invoke the sorcery point. You feel this brief breeze of air come out of nothing, and it just guides your hand for a moment, and it's that moment that you need, and you hear the click, and the door actually just falls away from you inward and opens up for you into quite a lavish sort of office. Not quite what you expected of someone like Belmont, who is described as having worked his way up and being generally quite a serious politician. But inside you do see, several richly dressed paintings on either side, a beautiful desk, and just generally like a bookcase with all sorts of like what seems to be not necessarily rare tomes, but just very, very nice editions of popular books and things like that, on various, political topics and philosophical ravings and that sort of thing. And you are indeed in Belmont Sonorius' office. So go ahead.
Right.
I presume that you're going to investigate, so go ahead and make your investigation check. As you start to have a look around.
That's an 8, so I will use another sorcery point to reroll this one.
Sure.
And I roll the same thing. So that's a 14 total.
Okay. I would say that your poor roll here probably is indicative of the fact that Jean-Jacques' attention is drawn pretty quickly, because there's a lot of interesting things in this office. So the first thing that you find are several reports from what seem to be people that you don't know, but they're signed by people with military rank, and they seem to be guard captains or soldiers from the old Postitian Guard before the Black Hats were instituted. And those reports say that in some of the precincts that there are concerns about the types of people being employed as Black Hats, that they should have more rigorous screenings, that they can't just keep taking people off the street like that, and that there is definitely a concern about corruption within the Black Hats with the way things are going right now. These concerns seem to be mainly focused on the Cross District, parts of the Catstye West neighborhood, and on the Dusk Yard in Postizia. Beyond that, you also find a very a specific duty roster with orders for a group of Black Hats drawn from different police precincts across Catstye West, who have been ordered to guard the Orisi prison complex. It's a pretty well-known prison out in the bay, built on this, like, a really tall building that you guys sailed past when you entered Postizia, but haven't really had any
what was the name of the prison, sorry?
Orisi, so O-R-I-S-I.
Okay.
Let me see. Oh yeah, and you do find, and from what you can tell, like he hasn't necessarily hidden anything because he's trusting in the security of the office in the first place. You do see that he has had several letters exchanged with Elena Sordenbrand actually regarding the Unsold. You know, as colleagues in the assembly, they've been talking about how to proceed, and she's been trying to make her case, trying to get him on her side as he is a sort of mover and shaker. But nothing unusual there. You could probably find similar letters throughout this building.
Yeah, just as a looking at it, does it seem like those when I found them, did it seem like the letters were just simply, treated? Actually, put this like, were they put together with a bunch of other papers, or were they in their own separate space? Like
they were in their own separate space regarding the Lady Sordenbrand. So she definitely he seems to have organized everything based on the people that correspond with him, which is how you manage to filter out some of it because it's simply not relevant to read stuff from random people. There is at the bottom of one of these letters there is a sort of there's some scribbling by what seems to be Bilmont about should we involve her ? And then it's been struck out. So it seems that was cast aside as an idea. You also find one letter that's kind of been stuffed into the pile, or into a random pile, but it kind of sticks out, so you peek at it, and you see that it discusses, and it seems to have no relation to the pile itself, but it discusses additional research being done by someone, unstated. The type of research is also unstated, but it discusses ethical concerns about the subjects. You don't know what that might mean exactly, but there's definitely something happening that is being reported to Bilmont, and someone has some concerns. You don't see a return letter, so and based on the date, it seems to be dated about a week ago. Then finally, at the bottom of the pile with Elena's stuff, there is a letter that's not from Elena, but rather addressed to someone else, which wasn't sent, from what you can tell. Written by Bilmont himself. The writing matches up, and it discusses the quote-unquote problem of Pateric Sordenbrand. Poking his nose in, should we do something about this or not? But, as far as you can tell, this letter was never sent. And I will say that is primarily what you find, but please make a history check as well.
Okay. It's 21.
Oh, that's good. The handwriting here matches the thank you card that you found with Vista Nandorius's desk.
So it seems like he sent a thank you or a thank you letter to. Okay.
That is right.
Okay. The thickened plots. All right. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so I think I'll be satisfied with that, because I mean, whether right or wrong, Jean-Jacques drawing some conclusions here. I will take care to return everything into its rightful place, to the best of my ability, and also I will give it a once over, looking specifically for secret compartments. Or did you? Because I think you did it last time. So
make an investigation check for secret compartments.
Yeah, secret compartments, doors, things like that. Never mind. That's a 7.
Okay.
No, an 8.
Yeah, probably it's a case of so preoccupied with what he's been reading that, like halfway through he's checking and he's thinking and he realizes that he's not checking anything. He has to read the letter again. It just doesn't really lead anywhere. But yeah, overall, you put things back the best that you can, the way that it was. Probably not exactly the way that it was just because of how much paper is involved, but it's as close as possible.
As close as possible, exactly. And one final thing that I'd like to do, does he have books? Like a bookcase or...
Yeah. He has one bookcase, like right next to the door with various tomes and everything.
So looking really quickly over them, any interesting, topics? I definitely want to, look and take note of. But does he have any of the following? A history of the Lingua Arcana, an untitled book with the Olympics logo on it, Ephemeris Aeternum, the collected hymns, praise, and dedications to Mistra, or Mistral, or the Republic Rising, by any chance?
Republic Rising, yes, definitely.
Okay.
He also, let me see here. He also has a copy of the Ephemeris Aeternum.
Okay.
Yes. So those two books definitely appear there, but for the most part, the books that you find on his shelf are definitely political writings of various authors on, the development of the Republic in its early years, the way that it should be structured, and for the most part, they're definitely in line with his position as a sovereignist about, being strong and independent and that sort of thing as a nation.
Very nice.
All right.
I think I'll content myself with that, feeling that I'm already pushing the limits of my luck here with everything that's gone on. So Jean-Jacques gonna take this as a fairly decent excursion.
Okay.
And then we're gonna head out. Now, before we jump over, one thing that I wanted to clarify with you is when I was discussing the ways in which the glyphs of warding and other magical protections work, we established that all of them were moved, all of the heavy duty stuff was moved to the entrance.
Well, yes, now, on the outside, and then you have the places where you can enter the rest of the building.
The junctures.
Likewise.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I were to, let's say, try and pass the control points leading into the restricted area while invisible, I would surmise that I would get. Okay. So when I get within a certain acceptable distance of there, I'll uninvisibilize myself and go through a different checkpoint. So I won't go through the same checkpoint because I had already, been there with. Well,
the other one is the one that you that Vanity kind of indicated you shouldn't go through in the first place.
Then I'll go through the same one. Okay. Yeah.
So as you pass, you do hear a slight. And the guard that you had initially charmed, the younger one, kind of rushes up and he goes like, "Sir, where have you been? Your lady friend came back half an hour ago. Is everything okay? What happened? You didn't do anything bad, right?"
I clap him on the shoulder and I give him a wink and I say, "I was just resting. It was an eventful night. I really thank you for that." Give him the sleazy scumbag look.
Okay. I know he's really good at this, so go ahead and roll persuasion.
Yeah. Fuck me fail now after all this. I never did.
Sorry, what?
But I will use. I absolutely fail, but I'll use one of my last few remaining sorcery points to reroll because I rolled a natural one, so I'll reroll that.
Don't roll the second one.
This is not much better. So 12 total.
Okay, now that's fine. Like he wants to believe in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So as you clap him on the shoulder, which is kind of awkward because you clap him on some very heavy armor, and it just kind of oh fuck. Maybe that's what throws you a bit. But he just kind of smiles uncertainly, and then he's kind of recovers with, "All right, sir, please have a nice evening. And please don't come back." And he just heads back to.
Thank kindly.
Yeah. All right. So you have escaped the depths of the Solidariat, and I would say you can probably join the rest of the group as they are recovering from their conversation with the Honorable Selman.
On my way there,
yes.
Do I see perhaps one Atticus Hope?
He is currently... Well, actually, make a perception check first.
Okay.
See if you can spot him, because he's quite small in the crowd.
It's 14.
Okay. It takes you a while. And you almost... You spot the Ashen Hearts first, but as you do, like, a little bit further away, you find Atticus in the courtyard itself, currently standing there with a group of, like, 3 or 4 other people, heatedly debating that he is not drunk while holding a drink.
Right.
So he is currently not having a good time. His face is slightly flushed. He's slightly angry, and he's just like, you hear his voice go a little shrill as he goes like, "I'm not drunk! What are you talking about?"
So I'll pass close by.
Okay.
And it seems like my initial whip is working. So I was going to try and slip him the poison. But instead, as I'm passing behind, passing behind him, I'll look at his friends. And I'll do like one of those, like, like a sad lean to the side and like a shake of the head. And then I'll, walk off.
Okay.
To, like, look at him, so obvious that he's drunk type of,
Make another persuasion check just to see how this takes hold.
That is a 19.
Okay, so as you do this, you briefly make eye contact with one of the people standing around him, and they just kind of look like, oh, yeah. And then they immediately reach forward, put a hand on Atticus' shoulder, and just go like, come on, man, just calm down. We're going to take you home, and you can sleep it off. And he immediately just kind of pushes them off, and he goes, I'm not drunk! And you can see
as he yells that, I just lean into the first person, whoever it is, like right there I'm passing next to, and I'd be, such a shame, had such a promising career to throw it all away for drink. That's it. So I'll just continue doing similar things as I'm going to the Ashen Hearts.
So the first person, so you're kind of looking over your shoulder and you just kind of approach them out of the corner of your eye, right? And then you say this.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I kind of rolled for it to see who you might encounter. You say this, and then you look and you blink, and it is none other than Mr. Robert Mortimer.
Do it.
So he just kind of stands there like.
I just give him a very honest look, like, pleasure to meet you, sir. The name's Jean-Jacques Dupois.
He continues to keep his arms folded. You can see him kind of twitching a little bit, but he's not angry. He's very much in control of himself. And he smiles and he says, "You should not have come here."
Why do you say so, sir? I was kindly invited.
He goes to pat you on the shoulder in passing as he starts to move away. I'm guessing you don't want to make a show, so you allow that? Or do you specifically want to avoid it?
I'll allow it.
Okay, so he just pats you on the shoulder and doesn't say anything else. And continues walking. By the way, his facial features, the kind of mutated version of tiefling human that he is, on full display. Like, unlike Appy, he has no qualms about showing who or what he is. And he goes off to immediately enter into conversation with the next person without paying you any mind whatsoever.
I kind of shrug, move away, continue doing my dance of, oh my god, look at Atticus, oh my god, what a scene, type of thing.
All right, so inevitably after 3 or 4 people, you end up near enough to the Ashen Hearts that, they're the ones that you can inform about Atticus, but you guys are reunited again.
Yeah, just look, oh dearie me, did y'all see Atticus Hope and the poor state he's in?
Extremely southern.
That was. It went a little bit too. Yeah.
Wait, is he drunk?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, was your mission success?
I do believe so. Quite a bit. And you found out who attacked Lord Storm, I presume?
We found out who didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Honorable Clementine Selman didn't.
I lean in and I look at Barnack's eyes. How drunk are you?
Just tipsy.
Oh, okay, not at all. I got you.
Yeah. I'm still holding my own, don't worry. But, Jean-Jacques, there's a thing we need to do. But there are 2 things we need to do. First, you need to talk to people instead of us, because I asked too direct. Well, my questions are too direct.
Your questions are too direct?
I know.
I've never heard of such a thing.
I'm shocked as well.
Shocking.
As you guys are talking, you guys hear another voice louder than it should be. But this one is more familiar. In fact, it's Lord Fennec's voice that is raised. And you see him across the courtyard, as he kind of half shouts, but not really. And he goes, no, you don't understand. It was the beast was as large as a horse. It attacked our house. What, darling, help me! And he turns to his wife, and she's just at his side, trying to calm him down. But he continues to kind of talk very loudly about this, things that happened, but definitely not something you would want to be shouting publicly. And he's kind of making the same impression as Atticus was minutes ago, but even more extravagant. It's like he doesn't have control over the volume of his voice.
And he's talking to whom?
To his wife and to a group of people that have gathered around, various dignitaries and important people. You spot Jean-Pierre in the crowd. All of them look slightly bemused. This is sort of entertainment for them as well, to see someone embarrass themselves. And they're all just gathered around listening to him, and kind of, someone will shoot something out to urge him on and make him even crazier, or disbelieve him so that he goes even angrier, that sort of thing.
Can I take a moment to see if Jean-Pierre's smile is happy for his peril or just laughing casually?
Go ahead and make an insight check.
And 11 total.
Jean-Pierre, like Jean-Jacques himself, is difficult to read. They are experienced players in these arenas, and they manage to act their way through these situations quite well, unfortunately. So as you kind of try to get a glimpse at him, Jean-Pierre actually probably looks in your direction. He's just kind of looking around, see who else is enjoying the show, and he catches your eye, and he just inclines his head and bows a little bit, which makes it harder to read his expression.
I nod back at him with a little smile.
All right. So,
shall we assist Lord Fennec? I think he might need to be reminded of where we are.
I don't know about that, but Jean-Jacques, also make sure to look around and to look at people's mouths. There's someone here who has a silver tongue.
And it came from Honorable Clementine. She
Yes.
told us to look for someone.
To look for someone
So
who has a
that's-
silver tongue.
I can't keep a straight face. Yes.
This is
we
exactly
were
what's
heard.
happening.
Tarnok's just like, I know.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Lord Storm is in danger. Go, and we'll keep an eye.
Yeah, all right. I mean, you can go with me.
Yeah. Also, do you want? Nah, you don't. I'll give you later. Go. I'll take another drink from a passerby.
Okay.
At this
So yeah.
Sorry, but as Barnack grabs the drink and Jean-Jacques heads off, it's like it's a drink that's not meant for him, and this one was actually being served. So you just grab one, and the server just stands there like,
Oh,
it's fine, sir.
I heard it calling to me.
Of course. And bows and heads away to get a new one.
I grab them from somewhere and I try to walk hurriedly so that I can be beside Jean-Jacques.
Okay.
Yeah, I follow as well.
Okay. Alright, so you guys start to kind of move into the small group of maybe 10 people or so that have gathered around, and at this point, Fennec, as he sees you guys, that's my saviors! They're the only ones that are any good. Black Hats are horrible! They couldn't do anything about this creature, but these people kept me and my wife safe. And then he just points straight at you, Jean-Jacques.
Yeah. So I approach him and I do one of those like very, I smile pleasantly at everybody else and at him, and I kind of try to, maybe like, I don't want to pat him like patronizingly on the shoulder, but just kind of like, approach him in a very, honest and kind of open way. Like, well, Lord Storm, you were very kind. We did have a role to play, but I do have to say, I mean, Black Hats are doing a fine job protecting the rest of the city. We were in the right place at the right time. And I tried to get a sense, is he like piss-ass drunk, or is something else going on?
Make a. I would say that would constitute a medicine check probably at this point to see,
Okay.
Because there's nothing visibly necessarily immediately obvious. It's not like he's sweating very heavily, and like the signs of someone who's overtly drunk.
9.
9. Hard to tell. The only thing that stands out to you is that his pupils have dilated slightly. Actually, I should probably roll again for an advantage.
May I assist him because I'm. If I remember correctly.
Well, no, he's already getting advantage, so you don't have to.
10.
10. Okay.
Rolled 1 higher.
No, unfortunately, nothing stands out to you as being the particular reason. In fact, it's quite unorthodox for him to be behaving this way. He's himself, just 10 times more himself. And he's probably spewing some things that maybe he would be more tactful about or not mention at all in public, usually. So you definitely get the sense that some inhibitions have been loosened.
Yeah. What time is, how much time has actually passed? Are we going towards the sort of twilight? Are people already starting to leave? Or
not people leaving yet, but it's definitely late in the evening. So it's getting more towards probably the final hour of the celebration. Especially with the cold winter weather outside of the Solidariat. They want to send people home at a reasonable time as well. So it's probably getting towards about, let's say, 9 in the evening. And you probably have about an hour left before everything starts to really kind of wind down.
May I approach Lord Fennec as well and a bit loudly exclaim, these drinks here are really something, I have to say, but there's a trick that works on me, and may I cast protection from evil and good on him? If the area is not anti-magic thing.
So what are the components of that spell? Because if you have material components, you don't have them with you.
Yeah, let me check. Powdered silver and iron.
Yeah, so I assume that you're usually using like a component pouch, or...
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of the things, that you left behind.
True.
So unfortunately, as you have this idea, you go like, shit, I don't have any of the tools that I need in order to make this happen.
Powdered iron or silver. We could take someone's silver tongue there. Powder it. Use it.
As you're
you can go to the powder room to powder the silver tongue into dust, right?
Of course.
As you're contemplating this, Fennec just kind of turns to Rhaenyra and he goes like, my lovely wife, the city isn't safe anymore for people like us. We who made Postitia what it is, even back in the day. I mean, this, and she kind of starts to shush him and at least gets him to calm down on that front, because you can tell he was about to say something really kind of offensive about the Republic. But with all this intervention, I will say the crowd starts to thin pretty easily, because you guys are kind of covering him from view immediately, and there's kind of a sense of now it's starting to get sad. So you have some more time sort of alone with Lord Fennec here.
Yeah, so I immediately turn to Lady Rhaenyra and I say, my lady, did something happen while we were away that...
She's still shushing him, and she just looks at you for a moment, and then looks at, probably just points straight at his drink. She suspects someone slipped him something.
Yeah.
Did someone come and offer him something, or was it from a random servant?
Someone sent him a drink, and I don't know who. It's all right. It's all right. Yes, I know that it's horrible what happened, and we'll be okay though. Look, they're all here.
Yeah. So I'll look at Lord Fennec and I'll squeeze his shoulder and say, "My lord, may I suggest that you go and sit down with your lovely wife and enjoy the rest of their evening in quiet, and don't really approach others until approached yourself, and depart in about 30 minutes. Stretching it a little bit thin here, but I will cast suggestion.
Okay.
And I'm casting it at 3rd level. Now, let me just double check, because I think suggestion has only verbal and material components, but
you have your
I have my focus, which is good.
Which should replace all spell components without a cost.
You can spell first creatures make a No, not this one. Subtle spell. Spell monsters casted without any somatic or verbal components. I mean, I never understood this part about suggestion. Is do I use, they say abracadabra and then suggestion with the verbal component, or is the actual
I think it's
suggestion
more
the verbal
compelling
component?
to say that the actual suggestion is a spell.
Yeah.
That in my opinion is because it's something that should fall under stealth and social sort of stealth as well,
Yeah.
so that you could use it indeed in these situations. So in my opinion, it's something that you can apply. It's kind of designed for this sort of situation.
Yeah, so I'll try it then, and that's my suggestion.
All right, he rolled a 16 on the save, which without your robe, does that save?
That fails.
Not? Okay.
Because my save is 17.
So you see that he his voice continues to be louder than it should be, but he does agree to be led back to the place where they were sitting earlier, and he just continues to kind of rave and rant at his wife instead of at you guys. But you can definitely see, like, it's not the regular Lord Fenix storm. Like, he's kind of caught up in whatever this is, and it's definitely...
Would I have been able to, like, snatch his drink away from him?
Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure. She probably, like, Lady Rhaenyra probably took it from him and passed it off to you as they went to sit.
All right.
And request.
So I'll smell it and see if I can sense anything weird about it. But I think I have a decent idea of what this is.
Make another medicine check.
And while he's doing that,
another 10.
Do you compare it to anything specifically?
Well, I would try to compare it with my what is the name? Lecospore. If I could, like,
then yes, even with a 10, you do recognize that it is indeed Lecospore that's been added to this drink. It has a very particular sort of bitter smell to it that reaches you.
Lady Rhaenyra, before they leave, I would just like to ask her, do you remember who the waiter was? The exact waiter?
She looks around. I think that one, and she points to one that's just walking across the courtyard right now. It seems to be a sort of young human with particular reddish hair. Like, not very, very notable, but just a little bit reddish hair.
Perfect. Jean-Jacques?
Yes.
Yeah. Talk.
Yeah.
Not me.
All right. Talk, not me. Just like point Jean-Jacques in a direction and talk.
Yeah.
So I will approach the waiter. Yeah, I will approach the waiter and try and find out who sent the drink.
All right. Let's see here. So normally we'd be taking our break in 10 minutes, but I'm thinking maybe, because I also really need to use the restroom, how about we take our 20-minute break here, and then we'll return 10 minutes past, 40 minutes past 7, with the waiter, and we'll see where this is going. Sorry for the slightly earlier break, but I really need this break right now. And then we can find out where else JJ, the loaded talking weapon, is going to be pointed by the group. And hopefully we'll see Mira soon. So or Myra, sorry. All right. Then I will see you guys in a minute.